Okay. Boom. All right. You know what? We can use to make it. I don't know where I would put it though. I like
Put
to sometimes put chat on the screen.
Like on this screen?
No, like on the actual stream.
Oh, so they can see it.
Yeah, it's just gonna go over your head a little. That's all. But
is it like the transparent thing where they just?
Yeah, it's a little transparent. It's just gonna words. All right, but we are live.
Hey, welcome in. I'm DeMicah Jamal,
And this is Cam King.
and today in this live we're gonna be talking about mostly the MCU, where they went wrong, and what we think they should do next, especially regarding Kang and how that played out, and Jonathan Majors not being in the MCU anymore. Last time we went live, we talked about House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. That's still up if you want to go check that out. We also currently releasing Loki episodes, so if you want to watch that.
If you, real quick, because in case when you drop in, when you view it, what we're working on, what we're releasing, and what's coming up for us. That's a good starting point, actually. We have one episode of Loki already edited, ready to come out. We just have to fix a copyright issue. We're currently halfway through in the next episode of Game of Thrones. Episode 6 of season 6? I don't remember. One of those.
Mm-hmm.
Not too many Game of Thrones left. Probably release about one a week for the rest of the year. Well,
And a fair portion, is all of Game of Thrones already on Patreon?
no, just a few 3 episodes of season 7.
Okay, so if you want to skip ahead a little bit, some of the episodes of season 7 are already on Patreon. Linked is in a lot of our videos there.
Every time we release a episode, I put up another episode on Patreon. So.
Okay, so yeah, they're about 5 or 6 episodes ahead in
On Patreon. And that's just the full length reactions. Those are just watch alongs. Those aren't edited.
Okay, so you have to have the stream, the video up in a different window or whatever to watch with us.
But yeah. And for those who are wondering what we're going to be watching next,
The Boys.
The Boys.
I've already seen it, but he has not. So this is his first time seeing stuff. We've only watched episode 1 so far. So if y'all remember what happened in episode 1, in the very first scene, pretty much, he had a very interesting reaction to that. So
yeah, that was
and I was waiting on it too. I was like, yeah, it's if you've seen The Boys, you know it's Huey's girlfriend and related, his first girlfriend. Yeah, very funny. But yeah, so that's what we're up to right now. Watching The Boys. We haven't edited that first episode
and
yet,
What If? We haven't watched any of What If except the first episode.
We've only watched one episode of What If so far, and we
guys,
have to
careful
edit
if
that.
you comment on this later on.
Yeah.
Be some spoiler territory. Because I've heard good things about it. I keep seeing it on Twitter blowing up. So.
Okay. So we only saw the Nebula episode so far, which was pretty interesting. Nice twist. I didn't expect the Prime, what's her name?
Yeah, to be the villain
Nova.
at first. Yeah, Nova Prime.
I didn't think he was going to be the villain. That was interesting to see. Yeah. But yeah, so MCU, Kang. So after Endgame, because up until that, I feel like not necessarily like the execution of all their movies, but their plan, I feel like was very clear, and it was like, I would say, consistent. In terms of a few movies, then an Avengers movies. A few more movies, then an Avengers movie. A few more movies, then an Avengers movie. Of course, after Endgame, they killed, had to cap off some of their main characters' storylines. Tony Stark, Thor to a degree, even though they did a fourth one. Captain America and Black Widow was dead. And then Hawkeye, had his situation or whatever. So obviously expect them to start moving some of the side characters and making them the main characters. Falcon, Wanda, Vision, Loki. But I didn't think this then. I'm not gonna say like, oh, they should have did this the whole time. I knew this wasn't gonna work. But like looking back on, I'm like, when they made those new characters main characters, I feel like they should have made them the main characters and then kept making more projects with them instead of making a whole bunch of new main characters. So like maybe they should have did WandaVision, and then before doing another new like Eternals or even Moon Knight, which I liked Moon Knight, do like not a WandaVision season 2, but maybe turn something out of that into like a WandaVision movie, or not a WandaVision movie, but a Wanda centered movie or a Vision focused movie or something like that. Or Vision Quest is supposed to be coming out. Maybe they could have put that earlier on the docket to where now it's been a minute since we've seen Vision, but maybe do focus on those main characters, because now we're getting a whole bunch of new main characters. So you have to like get reattached to a new character each time you watch an episode instead of revisiting an old character. That's what I think went wrong. However, I don't think they shouldn't have done any new main characters, but like they did a lot of new ones. So they did Shang-Chi, which I liked. I think they could have did Shang-Chi still. But then they did Eternals, which had 10 new main characters because they really didn't focus on one specific Eternal. They did Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. They about to do Ironheart, Echo, Agatha, which Agatha had an appearance, but she wasn't the main character in the first appearance. So now she's a new main character. So that's where I kind of think they went wrong. What is your thoughts on that? Do you kind of agree?
I don't invalidate the criticism of too many new characters and too much going on. However, I think their biggest mistake was the trash writing of half of these shows.
The execution.
Yeah. Like, I think people would have happily want to watch these shows if they were absolutely amazing out of the water, out of the gate. And of course, that's harder to do as you up the quantity, right? It's a quality versus quantity battle. Yeah. But it's not impossible.
Yeah.
There need to be more quality control in the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts with the script.
Yeah.
Because you can have an amazing script and if the director's just kind of mediocre, oh well.
There's still a good foundation.
It's still going to be a good foundation.
Yeah.
Or even if the CGI is off or something, like the script itself, the dialogue is just. Ugh.
And I think on top of that, the experiment with the 6-episode format, I think went on too long. Like, I understand trying that, but I feel like they should have course corrected sooner, because I think that was not that it's impossible to write a 6-episode miniseries, but it was definitely, I feel like, with whoever they were picking as their directors and writers, it was a hindrance on their process is trying to make, is this a movie? It's too long to be a movie. Is it a full-length show? It's too short to be. Like, I feel like they should have, because this, not on top of this, it being only 6 episodes, the episodes were short. So they didn't, like, they had to rush things. They had to do a lot of telling instead of showing. So I think that affected the dialogue too. They're like, okay, we can't take the time to show you what's about to happen. We just got to say it real quick so you know. And there's a lot of exposition. But yeah, like.
Yeah, just the 6-episode format would have worked if every episode was an hour long.
Yeah, if the episodes were longer, had more time to flesh things out.
It's just a miniseries. There's plenty of shows that have miniseries that started off.
And I think it takes more skill as a writer in a way to try to like make that work. If you're gonna have short episodes and a few amount of episodes, a good writer could probably make the most out of that.
I mean, look at Loki. Loki's both seasons were solid.
Yeah. They're pretty solid,
especially they had the longer episodes.
Longer episodes, better writing. Even though I think they had a few different people work on. I think there might have been one person who was consistent on both seasons, but it's definitely like a newer team. But Tom Hiddleston has a full agency like over his character. He really takes pride in Loki, so he really does care. But I think, yeah, like you said, the writing. But I feel like even looking back, not that it was bad, but some of the writing, like in the first 3 like phases, wasn't perfect every time.
No,
but it had a high floor, and we started to care more too. We were more invested because they would bring them together in an Avengers movie. I think they took too long in between.
Sure about that. We were more forgiving of the poor writing in some of the earlier MCU and stuff because. Well, there was less of it because there were less projects.
Yeah.
See, they didn't. There's like a growth, right?
Yeah.
They should be growing as a studio, and things should be getting overall better and better.
Right.
You know? And that happened. Phase 2, you started to see Winter Soldier.
Right.
You know, you started to see the Spider-Man movies coming out, and you had better and better writing, plot, and movies. But as you go into Phase 4, it kind of
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, sorry. I know you enjoyed Black Widow a little bit, but I thought Black Widow was.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed.
I mean, the character Yelena, she's great.
So I enjoyed most of the protagonists in Black Widow. I thought they kind of cut the antagonist off at the knees because they tried to make him a surprise, and you didn't get enough time with the villain. And they try to make him like, oh, he's not supposed to be alive, but oh snap, he's alive. But we knew he was alive pretty much the whole movie. And then the fact that the Taskmaster was one of the main antagonists, but turns out Taskmaster's not even in control of what they're doing, so they're not really a villain. They're also a victim. So you really have one villain who you didn't meet until the very end of the movie, because Taskmaster is really a victim.
Yeah. In
that situation. So. Yeah, but I enjoyed all the main characters, which is why I still enjoyed the movie overall, because that's who we got to spend the most time with. But I feel like the other thing with the first three phases, alongside MCU, you had DC movies, other superhero projects that were coming out that were elevating the standard of what a superhero movie could be. Because before it was just, it's a superhero movie, it's fun. But then they started making Winter Soldier, Dark Knight, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy. He's like, wow, superhero movies could actually be good movies.
Yeah.
So now it's like, oh, well, our expectation is like, no, you actually have to make a good movie first, and then the superhero is the extra fluff icing on top. And I think they've gotten regressed back to just focusing on the icing and not the actual cake, because you can say I feel like there's some directors and writers who see the MCU and when they get involved, they're like, oh, this is like easy. I just gotta make fun superheroes. I don't think some of the directors and writers that they hired recently actually respect like comic books
the
or
ones
comic
that
book
do,
fans.
You see it, like
you
the
can see
Moon
it.
Knight, Loki, Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
you see the respect in the work.
Yeah, you could tell they think, oh, all I got. These fans, they just want a bunch of superhero fun, pum, fly around, blow stuff up. That's all they want to see. And they don't realize that the reason we like the MCU in the first place is because we got attached to characters. And I think they kind of steered away from that. But also, like I kind of referenced earlier, I feel like in retrospect, I thought it was a good idea to take a minute in between Avengers movies. But I feel like looking back on it, if they would have got another Avengers movie out maybe 1 or 2 years, I know they had COVID and whatnot, but if they had been working on another Avengers movie where the plot was basically them trying to find out who the new Avengers are, like what do they do now that Tony and Cap's gone? So like you can kind of lower the stakes to where it's not a big villain. It's just a decent sized villain, maybe Loki-esque, that they're struggling to fight because Tony and Cap are gone. Thor's off world. And it's like, who is the new team, basically? But now it's been so long that the next Avengers movie has to be huge because they build up so much anticipation for it.
I think they should have stopped worrying about trying to topple Endgame with the next Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Just they should have just had they should have just let it have like a soft MCU reboot, essentially. Yeah. And they should have just made the next Avengers movie, like you said, more like Avengers 1, Loki type level villain. They have plenty of villains that can do an original villain for all we care.
Also, I think looking back on it, I didn't realize how much, because the Avengers movie were the big blockbuster movie, but more than that, the Avengers movies was the glue that reminded you that it's a connected universe. Like it really tied all the other movies together. And then you have like certain characters like Hawkeye and Black Widow. Hawkeye appeared before he got to the Avengers movie. He appeared in the Thor movie. Before Black Widow was in the Avengers movie, she appeared in the Tony Stark movie. But she didn't appear in the movie and then get her own movie. Hawkeye didn't appear in one movie and get his own movie, which I think that's now what they're doing. Like they're putting a character like Ironheart in a movie and then getting her own show. They put Echo in a show, and now she gets her own show. Rather, I feel like they should build up a little bit more with those characters because they're more like side characters, not like Iron Man or even Captain Marvel, who obviously it makes sense for them to get their
well, they're just trying to do a little
too
much. I think they're just trying to do a little too much.
And I think that has to do a little bit with like Bob Chapek taking over
could have had
and trying to make sure Disney Plus was a success.
Movie or something.
Yeah, she could have made another appearance, which I enjoyed her appearance in Black Panther.
No, she was great. Yeah, but Black Panther was overall pretty decent. Yeah. And I'll give props to Black Panther because that's one of the few movies lately, or even out of the shows, where the villain was actually a bit more interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Especially also considering how they had to retool everything after the passing of the main character, Chadwick Boseman. So,
but man, is Marvel in a mess now?
yeah. It's
because honestly, Jonathan Kang killed that role.
Yeah,
I mean, fuck the guy, right? But he killed the role.
Yeah, he was definitely excellent in that role.
I remember first watching Loki and getting to the episode 6.
Yeah.
And he popping up, and we was like, "Yo, this MCU is gonna be good, bro. This is gonna Avengers movies are gonna be good."
And that was one where they kind of waited a minute to see the villain, but his influence on the show was there the entire time. So
yes,
so his reveal at the end still was a good payoff, and he had a good amount of screen time in that last episode, and you really got It was the way they introduced him.
That last episode was all dialogue, but I could watch it.
And
over
then
and
even
over
he
and over
didn't
and
see
over.
the new Ant-Man movie, but the version of Kang that we got in there was still good, regardless
I've seen clips of him.
Regardless of what some people think of the movie overall, Kang's portrayal in it was still pretty excellent.
And his portrayal in season 2 of Loki with Victor Timely, it's just it's amazing. I mean, I'm sure there's another actor that could do that, but guess what? Apparently they don't want to recast. They just want to dump Kang to the side.
I've been hearing a lot of like different things about that too, like as far as like conflating.
What they're gonna do is maybe bring in Doctor Doom as a Kang variant, and that's their recast. But they're not gonna focus on a bunch of Kang war.
Okay. And they tied it up a little bit at the end of Loki, saying like basically the TVA is keeping an eye on Kangs, so that's why that they're not really doing anything, and it makes enough sense, and you understand with the situation going on in the real world, you get it. So I think they tied that loose end up as best as they could, and I'm not like, obviously I enjoyed him as Kang, but I'm not too disappointed, and I still have hope for what they can do in the future, especially with Deadpool. I think being the next movie coming out, I think I know they have projects that they already planned. So they got Echo coming out, they got Ironheart, they got Agatha coming out. And I think maybe Wonder Man is this show or something they got coming out.
Let's look up this upcoming slate.
But as far as new stuff that they announce, I think it should all be a recurring character, like a character that has already been a main character in a different show or movie. Making their second appearance as a main character. So let's see, we got Echo, we got Deadpool, which I think will be I feel like there's gonna be, I don't know all the stuff that's supposed to happen in Deadpool, but I feel like there's gonna be a little bit of like not a reset, but like something happening in that kind of.
We got Echo, which is technically not part of the main continuity, right? So
in what sense? What do you mean?
They put it in this Marvel. What do they call it now? The Spotlight, Marvel Spotlight.
I see what you're saying. Like, it is a part of the main. It's in the same. It has similar, like some of the same characters, but it might not.
They said something about it. Like the Spotlight stuff is things that aren't going to be like canonical.
Oh, so same thing with Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, stuff like that, kind of. Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I'm excited for this because this actually looks really fucking good. It looks like it's gonna be good. But
I think it's also canonical.
I'm gonna stab him. All
so
right.
they don't
Deadpool 3.
comics.
This, honestly, if this movie's not great, I think MCU's kind of done. Like, I think people are not. It's not gonna.
This movie has a lot of power to bring a lot of people back.
Yes,
that may have like checked
because
out.
if they fuck up Deadpool after that Fox acquisition,
the faith in what the hope for the future is gonna be,
and they have Wolverine in there. Like if they fuck that up, it's over.
I mean, I have hope because it is Ryan Reynolds and he takes a lot of care. But yes, you're right. Like if they mess that up, a lot of people who I feel like are diehard and like really apologists for the MCU will turn away as well.
If the Agatha series, the series right now, I mean, I'm interested in them. I'm not as concerned about how well they do.
Yeah,
because it's really going to be those movies.
Yeah, Daredevil, Born Again is another one that if they mess up, people are going to be very upset.
Next year, with 2025, Captain America: Brave New World, I feel like that's gonna be because that's you're supposed to be one of your major characters.
Yeah. And he's already been a star in his own show. He's gonna be coming back.
And he's one of the ones, like you said, they've already shown him throughout the MCU,
Yeah.
so it was kind of right to get his own show and get his own movie.
He has a compelling storyline, and that's the thing with even what you mentioned about the quality of the first three phases, and how we overlook things. Part of it too is that they prioritize the characters, and even though we may have not loved a certain movie, seeing the new character again, really, I think contributed to our investment and overall. It's like, oh wow, so we get to see this character interact with this character. But ever since Endgame, everybody's been doing their own separate things. Like Miss Marvel is a separate, She-Hulk's separate. Like they'd have a few people in there that we recognize, but for the most part, everybody's been doing their own thing. But coming back to Falcon and the Winter Soldier after it's been 2-3 years, he hasn't even appeared in another project since then. So it's gonna be nice to be back in that world. Probably see Agent Carter, I think her name. Yeah,
probably.
Probably see her too, and I feel like we should see John Walker.
You have the return of the Incredible Hulk's Tim Blake Nelson as the leader, and then there's the Harrison Ford is supposed to be replacing William Hurt as he's passed away as Thunderbolt Ross, because they're supposed to be doing a World War Hulk movie or something, and they're supposed to have I think he's supposed to become Red Hulk and stuff like that.
Do you think is Tim Blake Nelson gonna have that big old head?
Probably.
Remember in the Hulk when the fucking goo over there was getting on him and his brain started to fucking explode almost. That'd be interesting. Thunderbolts, I think, could be a sneaky power puncher. I feel like
it could be.
If they don't, I'll be fine if they make Yelena and Winter Soldier co-main characters. But if they don't give Yelena enough screen time, I feel like they're gonna make a big mistake. I don't think. I think they know. They should know that she should be the main character. If you only have one main character, it should be Yelena. If you have two, Yelena and Bucky, maybe there's a love story line there. But Yelena is a power puncher, especially just the actress too. Florence Pugh has an incredible brand that she's, so she seems nice and sweet or whatever. But it's something about certain people. Some people are good actors, but certain people have a certain level of star quality that you just can't really quantify. And Florence Pugh definitely has that. She was great in Black Widow. Her appearance in Hawkeye was very much appreciated. And I feel like she should definitely be the leader of the Thunderbolts. It's going to be interesting. But I don't know a whole bunch about that. I know there's supposed to be maybe, the Sentry.
Yeah, Steven, apparently.
Who's a Superman kind of character. MCU's version of Superman.
Interesting.
Super powerful, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, that should be interesting. Fantastic Four is another one that I feel like, yes, you have to get that right. But because the first few, other 3 Fantastic Four movies that we of recent memory weren't that great, you're not ruining anything, basically. They've already been bad. However, I don't know if they're including Doom in the first one or Silver Surfer, but I feel like those 2 characters specifically you'd want to get right. Because Doom, especially Doom, how he plays into the larger picture, and Silver Surfer, his connection to Galactus. Director for Fantastic Four? It was supposed to be, I think, John Watts at first, but he turned away because he wants to do something for Star Wars or something. And then I don't remember hearing those names. I think that's
Shackman. I do.
Oh, okay. He was a writer on, I think, a different MCU movie. Okay, he's part of WandaVision. He's part of the writer on WandaVision, but he wasn't the leader of WandaVision. Jack Schaefer was I think the showrunner, the woman.
Yeah,
I remember she got some hate because she said something about not reading the comic books, but overall, I enjoyed WandaVision, so I'm not mad at it.
What episodes of Game of Thrones did he develop? Actually, I'm kind of interested now.
And how much did he contribute to it?
In television, we have quite a bit of stuff. He's directed a couple of episodes of The Boy, an episode of Succession as well. He directed all 9 episodes of WandaVision.
Oh, he was the director of all of them. Okay.
Or produced it, yeah. Something. He had his hand in all 9.
Okay.
These are directing credits, yeah.
Huh. Okay.
The Boys, Heroes Report, where's Fargo? Where's... Maybe he wrote for Game of Thrones. I don't see the Game of Thrones episode.
Oh, because this is all of this stuff is as a
director.
Okay. So I feel like
the Spoils of War and Eastwatch. I think I remember
I
Eastwatch
remember
being a good episode.
Eastwatch is the one where they had to go up there to that all the way over there to like where the wall meets the ocean or the water. And I think what's called
She executes the Tarleys, right? And then,
Daenerys executes what's dad, Samuel's dad and brother. Okay, I remember that episode. That was in the late, like one of the last 2 seasons, like 7 or 8.
This is 7. It was before they go across the wall, and you have to fucking that one episode where they.
Okay.
The timing doesn't make sense.
So yeah, that's Fantastic Four. I have some hopes for that. They still haven't really officially cast everybody for that, which I don't need the announcement for that yet. I mean, they got a lot of other stuff in between.
I mean, they have
but
like, I know they're getting.
Apparently, it's supposed to be like a lot of actors have like turned it down because they wanted more money. Because it is a big commitment to be in the MCU.
But, so we definitely know it's most likely Pedro Pascal. There was a lot of people reporting on that. Then they were saying
Vanessa Kirby.
The
I've heard her
is Vanessa Kirby. Then Joseph Quinn. And then Ben Grimm.
I feel like Pedro Pascal is the most concrete. The other 3 are still kind of up in the air. I feel like it kind of goes in order of why how they just listed them as far as who's the most confirmed. Because I remember Vanessa Kirby's name being thrown around a lot. Robbie. Margot Robbie.
Adam Driver would have been a pretty interesting.
He already fits that, like the brooding, like dramatic, serious, smart guy. Like he almost is already kind of that in Star Wars, but it would obviously be less dramatic in
I think he's a wonderful actor because I've seen some of his other work and he's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been awesome.
And I saw him in Marriage Story. He's really good in Marriage Story.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
I feel like him and the dynamic between him and the Invisible Woman would be, pretty good in regards to their relationship. I know it's had like, I guess, in the comics some rough patches over the years. But yeah, should be interesting. I don't know who they're gonna get to cast as the Thing. But and then Blade is supposed to already be ready to come out, but they had to rewrite it completely. They got a new director who I think was from the new directors from Lovecraft Country.
Which rewrites aren't scaring me. Like some people are, oh no, it's in trouble. I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's not gonna be in trouble because they're fixing it.
Right? Yeah. So we shall see. Armor Wars, which is another one I feel like
this is something that was announced
a long time ago.
First few shows,
and I feel like they should have come out with it sooner.
I've been waiting, bro,
to see Rhodey and how he's recovering from Tony Stark's death and all that kind of stuff. And now we have to worry about him being a Skrull. I guess
maybe that's why they pushed it back because he was a Skrull.
Yeah.
So maybe they want the actual Rhodey to be.
They have to fix that. So yeah, that's another movie I feel like should have came out sooner. Shang-Chi, I feel like should have came out. I mean, the second one should have came out, I think, before certain, not necessarily movies, but projects.
Yeah, it's going to be like 5 years until we get it.
Yeah.
Not from now, but from since it came out.
Oh, yeah. Spider-Man 4. I understand why Spider-Man 4 is taking a minute because they have to redo the contract and whether or not, Sony.
That's fine. We just had a bunch of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We have Spider-Verse keeping us over right now. Yeah. We have, plenty of Spider-Man going on.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good.
Kang Dynasty, obviously, it's probably not going to be called Kang Dynasty anymore.
This will probably stay. Secret Wars is definitely probably going to stay. But the Kang Dynasty may not. Which I will say, they're not so far into the Kang stuff that they can't fix it all.
Right.
Like it's not like
Yeah.
like they could come. Yeah.
They could like put a pin in it, come back later after Secret Wars, after even anything they have to do with mutants and whatnot, and then recast and bring back Kang in a different way. Supposed to be a Wakanda TV show, which
that never ended up
and
happening.
a separate Okoye series. This is when I think like Bob Chapek even was still in charge. He just telling you do as much you can on Disney Plus so we can get subscribers. Like Nova, I think they should wait on. Vision Quest, I think should be in front of Nova. And there was another thing up there. But
hey, Happy New Year's, Kimberly. Good to see you.
Kimberly.
I wish YouTube gave time.
Oh, because that might have been a minute ago.
Yeah, it doesn't give.
Kimberly Cunningham, if you're still watching this.
Timestamps. There it is.
Do you
was 104. What was that 104?
What time is it now? Oh, it's just okay. If you're still watching this, do you remember the first video of ours that you watched? I
think she's one of our Game of Thrones
people
followers,
or it could have been House of Dragon because we watched that first.
She's watched a lot of those. Yeah,
a lot of our subscribers are Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon people, and that's how they found us. But we do have a smaller but still important MCU following as well, because we did watch Miss Marvel. I think
we
was
got
the first.
recommended. We've been recommended to watch this before, but the history and lore of Game of Thrones that they have on HBO.
Oh yeah,
it's like after each season, I think, or something.
Oh, they give a little breakdown of everything.
Yeah, that would be good for us to watch, actually. Probably Game of Thrones. Yeah, probably Game of Thrones.
Okay.
But yeah, Marvel has a lot of. I don't know. It's a lot of different things. I just want to see them make better movies, though.
Yeah, that to channel all their energy into the movies and making sure this script is right and being consistent with the logic set up in the beginning of the movie. Which, to be honest, I think overall there's not a whole bunch of throughout the MCU as a whole. There as far as continuity errors, there's been a little bit more after Endgame, but within each episode, like each show or movie, they've been consistent with that type of logic. It's just really been a lot of the dialogue and writing as a whole.
I can forgive continuity errors for good writing, for good dialogue, good story.
Yeah,
I just like strong characters.
Yeah,
and it's like when Doctor Strange, you haven't had much time to watch much. That's okay.
Yeah,
we understand that. Sometimes we don't have much time to edit.
Yeah, no, the editing just takes a minute for sure. But yeah.
We've actually finished watching all of Game of Thrones, but we just haven't been able to.
We finished watching it a while ago.
A while ago, like July.
If you look at, I don't know, we probably don't say the date, but in the movie, I mean, but in some of the reactions of Game of Thrones, we say, "Hey, right now it's currently July or something, such and such." And so I don't know when you're seeing this, but it's gonna be a minute from now. But yeah, so we're trying to get back, into it.
And we really love season 8. Just kidding.
We thought we would for sure. We were like, maybe people are just overreacting. But when we watched season 8, we was like, wow, they're doing stuff. And some of it's hard to really grasp how I don't even want to say bad some of the writing is, because you're so invested in the characters. Everything that they do is kind of exciting. In a way, there's a little bit of oh, I'm getting to see all my favorite characters together, because season 8 is like an Avengers movie, basically. All the main characters that have been sprawled out through the entire Game of Thrones universe are out in the same place.
The same battle, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just nice to see them interact. But some of the stuff just, especially even looking back, that didn't make much sense. And why? And I guess it made sense because they made sense.
That's fair if you like.
But some of it,
I mean, we liked the first 3 episodes. We just didn't like.
And some of it is just not even excuses. Some of it is what they chose to do with some of the characters.
We don't like what happened with Tyrion a lot. He made him feel very he just kept making all these bad decisions.
And I know that they did that so that way they could make it justify why Daenerys doesn't trust him anymore. And then now she starts to go, crazy and do all this stuff. I feel like it makes sense to her to go crazy, just not so fast.
It was just so fast.
Yeah.
It just happened fast. That's what we came down to realize is everything happened so fast.
Yep. And I didn't like that Jamie went back to Cersei. I feel like he could have, but once again, it happened too fast. Like it seemed like he kind of grew up a little bit in the sense when he like kind of started really getting with Brienne and talking to her like you would think. But, and I get that's his sister, but still, that was crazy. That was crazy. And the worst character in the entire show, just as a character, not just like within the context of the story. I didn't like them. Like, for instance, Joffrey, I hate it, but I don't think he's a bad character. But I did not like fucking Greyjoy's uncle. Oh my god,
not Balon.
Euron Greyjoy. Oh my god, he's the worst. He is the worst. And the fact that we know Cersei's crazy and like she don't got like the greatest of morals and stuff, but even I was like Cersei. Cersei. Even you are too good to be sleeping with Euron Greyjoy. And then to get pregnant by him? Oh man. No way.
I mean, the choices they made for the ending make sense to me. Like, I can see why those things would happen, and I didn't have a problem with those things happening. It's just that for the first 6 or 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, all the choices that they make for characters, they took time to explore them and give them the reasons why and all that. Whereas in 8, I felt like they just said, yeah, we're gonna do this and we're just gonna jump right into it. Like, I complete Daenerys going crazy.
Yeah,
I get it. You had some little signs of her craziness, but she really went from like, I want to save the world to I want to destroy it just so fast.
Yeah.
And I think like if you would have just had one more season in between 7 and 8,
right,
it would have just made a little more connective tissue.
Yep. Also the time jumps got crazy at season 7 and 8. Like, how the fuck did they get there so fast? They had a few moments where you're like, okay, I get it, it's a show. But then they just kept happening. Like, there's no way they got here this fast in a boat.
No one liked Europe.
Like, oh my god. But like with the Daenerys thing, there's a prime example of how like you feel like there's a bittersweet or like an internal conflict that you have when you're watching a character you like go from good to kind of bad, or a relationship you got that's like you watch go from good to now there's all this tension, which is House of the Dragon with Rhaenyra and Alicent. They were literally best friends, and then they took time for them to start. It's almost like how like when you want to get a divorce with someone and you want to have an amicable divorce, but then both divorce lawyers start pinning you against each other. Like, I don't want to take all their stuff. They're like, well, they're gonna try to take all your stuff. But and Otto was getting in Alicent's head, and then you got after she got with Daemon. Daemon was probably motivating Rhaenyra to start being a little more cutthroat. Even though Rhaenyra has more, I feel like, what's the word? Mental fortitude to where she makes her own decisions and doesn't get, but Alicent can be a little bit more, I guess, manipulated. And the fact that she shows what's his name, her feet, so she can get information when she's literally the queen. I don't know, but that was wild to watch that scene. I heard they made Brienne just another woman crying over a man. That pissed me off. Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that they did.
Yeah. Because she had a good storyline, and then it's like, oh, okay, she's just part of his storyline, really. She was just like a extra curricular for
they
Jamie.
just really took a lot of character arcs and kind of just played basketball in the trash with them.
Yeah. Yep. But back to the MCU, I would say they still have a time, and they're still in a good enough standing to turn it around and start, reeling off a few wins back to back. I think I guess I'm assuming that Echo must not be good considering the rebranding and the fact that they're dropping it all at once.
That trailer looked good.
The trailer looked good. I will say that they did the trailer, but the Secret Invasion trailer looked pretty good, and Secret Invasion turned out to be not that good. So there's possibility it might not be great. However, we know I think Daredevil and Kingpin are going to be in it, so that should. And they already have there's 2 established characters from another show that bring a lot of attention and I guess trust to the show. But the fact that they're doing it all at once and they calling it Spotlight and minimizing this connectivity makes me think that they're not confident in it. But we shall see. I feel like Agatha and Ironheart could be good, but regardless, like you said, it's about the movies. So the next, I think, 2 is it Deadpool? Then
Deadpool's the only one that's coming out this year.
Yeah, is it? And then is it Captain America 4?
Thunderbolts.
Okay, so they have a chance to where if they hit on those 3, and it seems like they're taking their time because I'm pretty sure Captain America was slated to come out before now.
I'm hoping we get, Deadpool comes out and it's good, and then come in the summer we get Comic-Con and we get a nice little plan.
Right, yeah.
And one of those Feige
retool,
moments.
Yeah, where he's like,
this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. This is...
And I know another thing I think would benefit them in terms of like public perception in general is, okay, so Feige's been kind of like, he's taking the straight, very smart, I think, business approach in regards to interacting with people. He doesn't say anything until it's final. He doesn't respond to any sort of rumors. He doesn't really respond to like any sort of hate or criticism. He just focuses on making the movies and promoting them as if they're the best thing ever. Just being very positive and stuff. But I think they don't have to do it. I don't think it would hurt them if they don't do it. But I think they could kind of show a little bit of self-awareness the next time, like kind of almost bring up the fact that they know that their movies have not been performing well and that there's hope for the future and that they're working to course correct and stuff, like just to show a little bit like, okay, we know we've been, put out some, just worded in a nice, button up way, but like we hear you and we plan on to, give you what you want.
Don't drop the ball anymore. Just deliver.
I mean, you got to deliver regardless because you can say everything you want.
But I feel like when you say those things, sometimes it puts you in the corner a little bit more.
Oh, you think so? Like as far as
you acknowledge it, and then if the next project's not good,
now it's like, oh, so you've trashed and you couldn't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Whereas if you just come out a good, solid, MCU's back, baby. That's what people.
Right,
MCU's
right.
back. MCU's back. Marvel's back.
Yeah,
Feige's back.
That's fair. That's fair.
Plus, apparently, What If is actually really good.
Yeah, even though we haven't watched it.
Apparently, What If is really
Which
good.
I thought the first season was pretty good too. But yeah.
Well, I think it's, what was it? Got a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, okay.
Season, or it did have a 92%. Season 1. Oh, season 1 had a 94. Okay. Whatever.
But yeah, the audience score is pretty good on season 1 too.
Still have to watch the new season of Loki. We definitely recommend watching the new season of Loki.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoy, even with Jonathan Majors being convicted and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we still.
Well, he got like basically convicted of 2 charges, but not the other 2. So basically, they said, we know you didn't do it on purpose, but it was reckless. So they didn't get him with like intentional battery or whatever. They got him like reckless, like basically. From the video, I watched the video.
You see him running from the girl?
Yeah, he's literally running from her. But
running from her.
So I watched the video. She was getting out of the car, or they were outside of the car, and I don't know what happened inside the car. Nobody really does. But I imagine apparently like she had his phone because he was texting another girl or something, and he basically placed her back into the car. But you could tell the way he was moving, he was trying to be like careful, but in the same way, it's like you still, I guess technically you're not supposed to be like grabbing her, like, you know what I'm saying? So and then he put her back in the car, and I guess that's how she got like whatever injury she ended up having. So even they could tell from the video he didn't do it on purpose, and the fact that he was running away, like they were like, you didn't do it on purpose, but is still reckless, and he has a guilty verdict regardless. So that's why Disney was basically like, okay, guilty verdict, we can't continue with you because this and that. Also, his lawyers are like, I don't know much about lawyering, but his lawyers are bad. There are certain things I was reading where, for instance, there's some like evidence or like tape of, I think, voice recording or video or text messages, something like that, where it was about something unrelated to this incident necessarily. It was something about him being like verbally abusive or something that they said. The judge was like, y'all can't use that. Basically, you can't. Basically, you can't such and such. You can't use that evidence because it doesn't relate. But then his lawyer, started questioning the girl. I forgot her name, Grace. He started questioning her about something like, why didn't you blank, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you blah, blah, blah. And in order to defend herself, she has to bring up those text messages.
So then it brings it into evidence.
So now they can open, I guess it was sealed. So now they can unseal it and like use the evidence that they wouldn't have otherwise used. And that doesn't necessarily involve this situation, but it affects the jury's perception of Jonathan Majors. Yep. So yeah, it was just like little things like that. And on top of like another thing that they released before the case even like really got started, they released like a picture of some text screenshots that they thought were gonna help Jonathan Majors' case. Yeah. And she was like apologizing about something. It's like, this makes her look better in the eyes publicly. She sounds like a victim who's saying sorry because she is scared of him. Yeah. That's what the text messages seem like.
He also had a lot of reports from like, they had that whole Time, was it Time magazine that did it, or Variety? One of them.
About his
attitude on set and stuff.
Yeah,
and
he just being like a dick in general.
So it's that like, damn, bro, you're not helping.
Right? Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Though we just want to come and chit chat. We're gonna do these little chit chats every Saturday, probably around 12 p.m. Don't quote me on this because we're not the type of people to always stick to the most consistent time schedule. But it'll be Saturday, sometime from 12 to 1 in the afternoon. We will try to do more current events and talk about things. We may also watch things live, where we can do watch-alongs. And I was actually thinking if we do the history and lore of Game of Thrones, we could watch that.
Because it's another YouTube video?
I think it's on HBO, but what I do, we'll just do it just like we would do a watch-along on Patreon.
Oh, okay. So they would have to pull it up.
They would have to pull it up.
Okay.
But if they'd like to be with us while we comment on it, and when people come into chat, we can be like, we can put the time code on the screen.
Oh, okay. So they can go and
see. So that's something. Appreciate people that came in, said hi. People are going to watch this later. But yeah, we plan on doing live streams once a week on Saturdays in the afternoon. We'll talk about whatever. We'll have some more focused discussions, more broad discussions. Maybe we'll do something fun. We'll see. We'll play it by ear and see how it does. I appreciate everybody that's been a part of the channel for this past year and a half. Looking into the new year, we plan on watching some new content. Of course, we have House of the Dragon coming out in the summer. When that happens, we'll be on that. I guarantee you those episodes will come out the day of, okay? We're going to start getting into some anime this year. People want us to watch Attack on Titan, so we'll probably watch some of that. I also want to watch some, I forget his name, Studio Ghibli movies. He hasn't seen any Studio Ghibli movies.
Oh, yeah.
I've only actually seen a couple, so they're all amazing, though. Some of the best animation that there is. And then hopefully Arcane Season 2 comes out this year.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking forward to that.
Arcane is excellent.
We'll be watching The Boys. We have Stranger Things on the docket. He has seen both of those. I haven't seen either of them. Shows that was there a show that we both haven't seen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't think of one right now, but.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know we both haven't seen like some of the animes, and then Peaky Blinders. Wednesday. We haven't seen
Wednesday. Better Call Saul. Those three things I can think of off the top of my head that people like to watch.
Yeah.
We haven't seen.
He also hasn't seen any of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh yeah, we might watch that. Yeah. That's actually. We might actually watch that soon. Actually.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been great. Appreciate you guys. Happy New Year. See you around.
Bye.
Wait. How did I do it last time?
What, the music?
Yeah, because we always end on our videos, for those that watch to the end. We always end on a I have to pause the music. Where is the video? There we go. And then it goes. Yeah, I just have to make it full screen next time. Peace out.
Bye.